everybody. Welcome back to the Online Course Creation Summit. I am excited to talk with my guest today. He's going to share some really valuable information from his personal insight. So I'm going to hand it right over to him. He's got a great presentation for you. Arvin, would you like to introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit more about what you're going to talk about today?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be sharing what I found with course creation here with you guys. And I think I wanna start with just saying that there was a point when I realized I can't just coach one-on-one with everyone on the planet, and I wanted to create that environment for myself where I am able to actually teach what I love to teach without being there. And so that was a whole background behind just realizing that moment when I wanted to just be able to have my message have that impact, that larger impact through online courses. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about first of all, a bunch of failures that I had with online courses, because I think some of the things that people don't want to talk about is how they failed. And I think it will be valuable. And then I can share also about how I overcome those challenges that I had. And then I can talk about a little bit about how I sell my online courses. I think there are multiple ways of doing that, and may be helpful for people to kind of realize what works best with how they present. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. I love the approach of talking about the things that maybe haven't worked as well, but not just stopping there and then turning it into, how did you overcome that situation? Because I think we've all had failures, and even the people who are most successful with marketing courses, they've gotten to the point they have because they chose to look really carefully at those failures and figure out where to go from there.
Right. Yeah. And so I start by just saying that, I think we may just think about, there's this online course, there's this idea that I want to do. And then just to start preparing for it and, just having all these, just collecting all these resources that we need to be able to create that course. And then maybe we may think that we need a coach for it. We may need a business coach. We may need a lot of assistants, a lot of people, resources to collect. And then launch that course. And it so happens that it's actually the other way around. So you present the idea, you present the course to an audience. If you have the opportunity to speak on in front of a large crowd, if you have your own events, or if you speak on different events, you want to be able to present that idea, that amazing course that you have in mind to people, and first, and get a lot of traction, then create the course. So it's the other way around, because a lot of people I see just spend so much time creating something that's not really valuable to their audience. So we don't know what they really want. And so one of the things I did was I started just creating this. One of the challenges, one of the failures was I did that. I was the one that spent so much time just preparing things on my own without presenting it to someone to get feedback. And it's a whole different level when you actually enter that area where all your audience, all your online course buyers exist, and you ask them about it. And so I remember I had this thing that I was just kept thinking about, even when I was presenting the course, to the point just thinking there's certain things I want to get from this course, and not thinking what other people want. Even like in my sales video, I was just kept talking about my own pain points, and I was thinking, this is why this is helpful, and it was like all for me, not even thinking about like, what if like someone else wants something else, right? And so from the very beginning, I think the first point I want to make here is that we want to just, even if after watching this video, if someone's watching this and they have an idea for creating their course, or they kind of have that idea, maybe they've been grappling with it, now it's a good time. Just maybe post it on Facebook, do a Facebook Live, go in front of a crowd, present it. And then if you do have the crowd, you can even record your talk, and have that as a promo video of your online course, which is amazing. And then once you know there's the concept works, so people are interested, people, they sign up for it. They don't have to pay for it, but they do sign up for it. And then you start creating your first video or create your first lecture, whatever that format is. And then you have time, like you can let your audience know, even if you're doing on the stage. I think that's, for some people, it sounds very scary. It's just like, I just sold my course and I don't have a course yet. And that's essentially how a lot of entrepreneurs that I know, they create $1 million courses. That's how they do it. They present it first and then they create their online courses, right? So you do have your promo video now by this time, and then you create your first video and you present it to your audience. They get it, and then you say, the next video, you're going to get it in your email, let's say in the next 72 hours, next week. Depends what the course is like and how you present it in a direct format. And then you have time. Then you have 72 hours at least, or a week to do the next lecture. And then you figure out what people liked from the first lecture, and you can just check out the analytics. I think Wistia and a bunch of other platforms allow you to see the analytics, and by that I mean you look to see where people drop off. So you see your video and then you see, okay, 2 minutes in, like 90% of people dropped off. Like, okay, well, there's something that I need to pay attention to right there, right? And I remember so one of the other failures I did that's related to this, I did a 60-day challenge where I was providing one video a day, and I didn't have any content. I was just doing one a day. It was very challenging. And I remember I never looked at the analytics until the very end. And that was not a good idea because there were certain things that I would change. And like how you start your video. So our attention span is so low now that if you don't start your video really powerfully with a lot of energy, then people just drop off. And you could have the best ideas ever, and people don't watch it. And so, especially in social media, I think I watched a video the other day. They did a study on YouTube. If you start your YouTube in the first 30 seconds with the word you get 78% more views. And knowing that 74% of all the internet traffic in 2017 is going to be streaming videos, and if you do it as a streaming, or if it's just in a platform, if your online course is in a platform that's not shared with other people, either way, you want to really pay attention to the streaming. And then, so I talked about, how you create it. So it's basically reverse engineering a course. You want to go backwards. You have the end in mind, and then you create it as you go. And then you get feedback, you keep changing. And then, the second thing is I found that beta testing a course is also really helpful. So if you didn't want to just go full force, let's say present the idea, have a bunch of people buy it, and then go full force, then you could beta test it. And one thing I failed, I think I failed at beta testing 3 times. So I may have something helpful for your audience to share. And the first time I did it was I told people, hey, come and get all these materials that I give to my one-on-one coaching for $1,400 a month for free. And first of all, people were like, I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure. So that was a challenge already. And then it got to the point that people were like, okay, we're excited, let's do this. We know what you do. And then they would do 4 days. And then because there's no money involved, and it's not just about money, I think it's the commitment, then they would be like, oh, it's just life got in the way. I don't have time. I'm like, it's my online course. Like, you can just say that, right? And of course, they're not responsible for your online course. So you want to make it easier for your beta testers too. So the second failure that I want to talk about is really the beta testing and how to not to do it. You don't want to do it for free. you do want to charge, let's say if you have a $297 course, so like one of those mid-tier courses, you want to at least charge 67 or 97 for your beta. And then, and I think sometimes people think, oh, I don't have my course ready, why people should pay for this? And I think that's the time when we want to just say our materials are valuable. And even though it's not in the best presentation, still is valuable. We've worked on it. And I'm sure everyone who creates courses, they spend time on the materials. And then, do you have any questions there?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think that's really good advice because I've made mistakes with beta testers too, you know, by just saying like, by really not pre-qualifying them and just saying, oh, I have this course for free for 5 people. And then like taking the first 5 people who submitted and then they went through it for free. And what I found was like only one person finished it and gave me any feedback. So those other people were just sort of collecting free stuff, which wasn't best for them because they didn't complete the course. It wasn't good for me because I didn't get enough feedback, but here I had given this away for free. So I love this idea of making there be some sort of financial incentive. I've even heard Brian Harris at Video Fruit, one of the things they did was they did beta testing and they only had people pay if they didn't finish the course. So you like had to make you had to make like a commitment, awesome. Like, all right, I'm going to pay $100 if I don't actually finish this course, which worked really well because then people had an incentive on the line to actually go through with the work, but they could kind of determine their own price. So I love the fact that you talk about like beta testing is not just something you open blanket to anyone who's interested. It's not something you make completely free. And I love the concept of building one piece at a time because otherwise creating your whole course, it's overwhelming. It takes a ton of time. But if you literally have to come up with 1 or 2 videos per week and you can improve week to week based on the feedback and the analytics, that's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love that idea. And if you can have even like to add to that, if you want to have prizes, just say, hey, for those of you who watch the whole thing as we go, like what's the schedule? You're not falling behind. Or just, you know, having some prizes, make it exciting. I think I was so the other failure was that I actually had 3 virtual assistants and all 3 were working as just bartering because they were getting my services also from the program. And they were like not really, I guess they were not super punctual. And so that got really weird also in there. So I was kind of on my own a lot. And I wasn't even thinking about making it like playful and just making it exciting. So if someone else watching this video, then they could have that intention going forward, just make it exciting for people to go through the videos. If they didn't finish it, they pay that $100. I think that's amazing. That's a great advice. And then, so having a VA really helps. And then also, you want to make sure, I thought because they were kind of friends and it wasn't the I guess work environment that I wanted to create. And it wasn't super helpful. And what I want to say is that it's going to be a lot of work just creating the course. So follow up with people and let's say posting on social media. If you have a Facebook group, which is helpful to have both your online course and beta testers, then you want to have a social media strategist or, a VA helping you because you already have a lot of work. And I found that actually, again, another big challenge was that there were some people on the course that they realized they have access to me 24/7. And so they were asking me questions and they were asking me a lot of questions. So I would basically sit in front of, this Facebook group for hours and answering these people. And then at one point, like I was like realizing this has been 4 hours and I'm like still answering people. And I mean, as we just get in the call, just give them free coaching on the call. That's actually quicker. And then again, I think the bright side of that was that I kind of detached myself from the course. So every time they were asking questions, I wouldn't like I would answer them and then I would record those questions because you could use those questions. Someone else going to ask those questions. So in a way, it was helpful. And if you can have it like at a moderate speed, so then you don't feel overwhelmed, I think it's super helpful to have those questions because they are the questions that other people are going to ask, and you can answer them without even having those questions, and then people feel a lot more connected. Let's say in your videos, in your lectures, in your emails, whatever. And then so you have that, and you go through the beta testing. Oh, the other thing is that, so let's say you have your incentives and you are in a tight timeline. So you want to finish the beta testing in, let's say, 5 weeks, which I was in that point. And that point, if someone just not, something happens with someone, and if you have, let's say, 5 people, and that's all you need for, people to go through your course to beta test it, because you just think that 5 people is enough for you to get enough, feedback on the video, on the productions, on the emails, on the content, delivery, presentation, all that. And then I thought that's, I wanted feedback from 5 people. So I got 5 people, not knowing that, in week 3, someone's not going to show up. And they had someone changed their job, their whole life was turning upside down, and the other person just moving to a different country. And it's like, of course, in the middle of my course, all these great things happening to your life. And so you want to have a little bit more than 5, basically. That's the point that I'm making here. And even if you think you need 5 people, I think sometimes I've found that 15 is a good number. And then if you want to have a lot of people go through it, you can, but then there's no point answering all these questions from like so many people, because you can get the feedback from 5 to 10 people. And so that was a mistake, having just 5, because 2 of them were not available in the middle of the course. Then I did that again, and this time I realized that I wanted to get video testimonials, and not everyone knew about that. And so one of the things this time I did at the very beginning, I had a little agreement that I gave to all my beta testers. I said, hey, at the end, I do want a testimony. You're getting all this free stuff, which is amazing. You're going to get results, I guarantee it. And then all of them actually did. And I also want you to give me a video testimony so I can use it on my sales page. And so that was a good thing that I did, because it's not something like, if they don't do it, you can't take them to court, but it's a helpful thing. So people know, okay, it's a business, it's a real thing, and they would do it for you. And yeah, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that some people also are not comfortable appearing on video.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to kind of weed them out right away.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going for video testimonials, or like when I did mine, I was really clear, like, unless you hate the course, which I still want your feedback, if you hate it. But, I'm hoping that you'll allow me to use a testimonial of your honest opinion with a picture of you. And someone wrote back immediately and was like, I don't want my picture used at all. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. But unfortunately, for the purposes of what I'm doing, it's just not going to be the right fit. So clarify that up front, because the worst thing you could do is, get the 5 people, 2 of them disappear because they've got other stuff going on. And then the remaining 3 don't know that you were expecting video. And then you feel like pushy at the end, like, do you have your video? Do you have your video? So I like that idea of using the agreement and having it be really clear up front what you're expecting as well. And of course, they're under no obligation if they are not getting results or if it's not what they expected. Still valuable feedback, and that's probably not as likely to happen, that you're going to have someone be that disappointed. But it's just really good to know what, it's an exchange of value, right? Like you're not just giving this all away for free, just for fun. Like this really is an exchange of value. You need the feedback. The testimonial is helpful too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing, talking about having those agreements at the very beginning, you want to have a BPA, so you don't have someone just say, "Oh, this course was so good, I'm going to create it myself before like him or her." Okay, so that's also very helpful to have a BPA agreement. They have all of them have signed it, and I think it's BPA and an NDA that you want to have. Those are two little agreements and contracts that you want to have. And then I've never seen anyone who would do that, except one time I had this is kind of weird. A friend of mine did a I think 60-day challenge, and then in the middle of the challenge, someone dropped off that challenge and they did their own challenge. And it was very similar, and we were like, this is so weird. So similar. And then so you want to have those BPAs as well, especially if it's your idea is something, or the way you present it, it's something that's very specific to you, then just protect it. And then I think the other thing is, so already we hit those 3 points of just beta testing, how to create your course, and then what to do during the beta testing. And I think once you've done that, then I found that having a large list, ready would really help. And then some people do that, and then they create the course, they beta test it, or they don't even beta test it. They just go full steam into just selling it, and then they create the content as they go. I think even then, when let's say they sell it to like, I don't know, 50 people on a stage, and then I think having a list is helpful. But if you don't have a list, I found that if you can't sell it on social media platforms, that's the best strategy. Because especially for someone who doesn't have a list, building your list may take time, but you can build your list as you launch your course. And in fact, it's helpful for building your list too. So the course is helpful for building your list. And I think that's something Jeff Walker, I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Walker, he used to do, just, having that product come in, and the product would get him a lot more subscribers. And so personally, I found that doing Facebook Lives was really helpful for me, because I remember I was spending a lot of time and energy on editing the video. And also I spent a lot of money on an editor who would edit my videos and do them professionally. And so I didn't want to add in more investment through Facebook ads. And so what I did was I started just doing Facebook Lives. And the good thing about Facebook Lives is that when you present your whatever business or product, whatever you have, Facebook promotes your business. So you don't have to, obviously you don't pay. And also Facebook promotes it to, let's say you have 5,000 friends. It promotes it to all your friends. And not only that, if you build it, so you do Facebook Lives consistently, then there's a Facebook algorithm that picks up on it, and it would even show it to more people. And imagine one of those 5,000 people shares one of your Facebook Lives about your program to another 5,000 people. That's already 10,000 people in reach. So that's the opportunity of just doing a lot of Facebook Lives. And then I found that, first of all, I thought I can only talk about my Facebook, talk about the online course on my Facebook Lives. I can't sell it while I'm live. And then one day I thought, you might as well try it. And so I'm on this Facebook Live, so I did it, I think, for like 7 days in a row. And then on day 8, I thought, I don't like to do webinars because I think it's just gotten so hip, and like everyone's doing webinars, and people know they're like they're ready to just get all the materials from the webinar, and then for its last 10 minutes they will want to drop off because they know there's a massive pitch is coming. And so I thought, can I change that? Can I work around it? And so I did that. I did a webinar with slides, with testimonials. I rolled out testimonials, everything on a Facebook Live. And then I saw people were still watching after an hour and a half, which was kind of weird because it's like, wait, they still watch? Because I thought this is just going to be a webinar. At some point I thought this is something I'm going to record and then use it later. And then I saw people are still watching. And then I thought, okay, Well, let's see. I'm assuming they're very interested that they watched for the whole thing. So they're still commenting. So I told them, hey, I'm going to post the link below the Facebook Live. And for those of you who want to, and post a direct link to the checkout. And people went in and they bought the program. And another interesting thing about that was that these people who bought it and who stayed in for the whole thing, they're not part of my network. They're not even on my Facebook list. They're not on many of my subscribers, not any of my social medias. They just got from elsewhere because someone shared it. Do you have a question there? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wondering, I hear people all the time, say that there's a certain place from Facebook that you should be Facebook living. So some people say it's within your free group. Others say your business page. Were you doing this from your personal profile or somewhere else on Facebook where you got the most traction?
Yeah. And so that's one of the things I have a little training program on Facebook. That's one of the things I share in the, say, do it with a 3-to-1 ratio. So you want to go 3 times on your profile, personal, because that's usually where you have more people if you're building your list. Because if you're not, if you have a list, then you should just be, heading up your list and then maybe do this as a complement. But if you're not, like if you didn't have a large list and you want to start, then you want to go, let's say 3 times on your personal, and then every time you do it, you also tell them about the business page. And so you have this end goal in mind that you want to go to the business page. You want to take everyone to the business page too. So you go on your personal, 5,000 people. Let's say you have at least like a couple hundred followers too. You take all those people and just say, hey, this is what I did. And then if you want to see more and you want to get notified my Facebook Lives, because that's something you can do with Facebook Lives on business page, then go to my business page because I shared it there too, and you can get more. And kind of you transition them. It just takes time. Or you could just do, I have a friend of mine who has like about 300K followers on his business page. Then you just don't have to do personal, obviously, right? So you just want to start with the business page.
Now, does it matter, are most of the people who are connecting with you, are they watching live or are they watching it after the fact? Because I'm always curious about that too.
Mm-hmm. So you can tell. So if they, first of all, there's some people who comment all the way to the end. They interact, and that's good if you make it interactive, because then you also know who's watching. The other thing is, so you see people joined in, and there are people I've seen that someone was telling me, like, I put you in the background when I'm doing, I have your videos in the background when I'm doing my stuff. So okay, great, good to know. Good to know. It's like high energy, we like it. It's like great, do that. So yeah, do both. Right.
That's awesome. Now, is there a recommended length? Like I know some people who do like Facebook Lives every single Tuesday for 20 minutes, and they know that your followers know that you're going to be live at that time. Or are you doing it more spur of the moment for as long as it makes sense to talk about that topic?
Right. So if you want to make it a webinar type, then you can go as long as you want. And I don't think going more than an hour is necessary. I think that's good time. I went an hour and a half because I think I kind of just lost track of time, and I was kind of excited too. I was like, what is going on? Why people are still there? And so I think the least you want to do is 10 minutes, because it takes 9 minutes for Facebook to start promoting you. And anything below that is a waste of time. So
that's really good to know.
Yeah. And then, it's like those little things count. Like, if you have a music background, sometimes you do this amazing Facebook Live and then Facebook takes it down because you have a music in the background that's not yours. And I've seen people getting banned for that. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't. I told people I want to do shows every 2 days, and now I'm banned. I can't do Facebook Lives anymore. So those are important. And so that's length. You want to do, I would say, if it's teaching, the different ways. So if you're just teaching every day, then I would say 10 minutes. If you want to do launches, like I've done 2, I think, of those, then you can tell people in advance, be like, hey, I'm going to actually teach for 45 minutes. and have people create landing pages, put a link above your Facebook Lives, create flyers, tell people, keep telling them, say, hey, I want to teach you for 45 minutes and ask all your questions for the whole thing, then I think that's fine. But if people just come in and they have no idea that's what you're doing, and they're like, it's been like 30 minutes, you're still talking, and it's like, this is my first point. Now I'm gonna, tell you about 10 other points that I prepared for you. Just like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I agree with you that those little details matter, because one of the consistent messages I'm hearing from all these different marketing platforms is you need to be doing video, you need to be doing live. But if you're just hopping on there and you're not really taking the time to figure out where you should be doing it from, how long, and all that type of stuff, then, like you said, if a video is really less than 9 minutes, it's not really purposeful. So that could really help a lot of people with their strategy in determining what they're going to be talking about and for how long.
Yeah. And I think some of the mistakes I made around it, so I did 100 Facebook Lives in a row. And for the first 20, it's awful. It's so bad. And I actually kept them because it's just interesting for me to kind of look back and just see how much they changed. So, anywhere from right now, when I do my Facebook Lives, I actually have a green screen. So spoilers, people would think I'm actually in this living room that does have a lot of TVs in it. It's not my living room. So some people actually don't know that. They ask me about it. It's like, where is that place? And so, if you want to have good background, if it's your house, or if you want to do green screen, either way, the sound quality, I found that sound quality matters so much. And in my first, I think 20, 30 videos, the sound quality sucked. The lighting sucked. And then what else? Yes. So then also the other thing, I wouldn't tell people what I want to talk about, because really I didn't know what I was going to talk about neither. And so that's why I wouldn't tell them. And I found that if you just tell people, hey, these are 3 things I want to talk about, that's a lot more helpful, because then people wait for it. And if they know, and once you tell them there are 3 things you want to talk about, and then you talk about those 3 things, then you deliver, and then people say, okay, this was good. Tomorrow he's doing another one. I want to join.
Yeah, and that way you're not tethered too much to a specific schedule or a 10-point outline. But 3 is also a number that you can remember too, going in, and they know what to wait for. How on earth do you do green screens with Facebook Live? Like I know you can do that with YouTube and edit it after the fact. How are you doing that when you're actually live?
Right. So there are a bunch of streaming softwares you can use, and I have my online training that teaches that in an hour you come out. Actually, I probably should just have it before and after picture of me when I first started and then last, because you can see the difference, and it's huge. and yeah, so then you have that green screen, you have that better background, and it's not just that you want to have a good looking background, it's also different to other people, because not everyone does it. And for someone, let's say someone who is like on their phone, just keep scrolling, they see something and they're like, oh, this looks really different to other Facebook Lives, right? So click, let me see what this is. And you just got a new person on your Facebook Live. So it matters. Those things that you do, I know some of my friends on Periscope, they have glasses, they have so many weird things on, like these costumes they wear. They try really hard, and it's helpful sometimes because people get excited. They want to see what's going on. And a lot of people also who get on the Facebook Lives, they're on their phone, so they can't hear you. So if they see something, then it may get them excited. But if it's just audio, they may not hear you, and you want to kind of also have those gestures and just can't hear it, all those to get them attracted.
Yeah, that's really smart. And this is another thing I was going to ask you about. I've been hearing more and more. I know that the government in the U.S. is looking into this as far as how it relates to the Americans with Disabilities Act and all that. A lot of people who are watching these videos may be scrolling on the subway or waiting in the doctor's office or at work or whatever, and they don't want to have the volume up really loud. So do you think that in the future captioning is going to play a role, having the actual, like, what has been said? I don't know if that's something that would have to be done after the fact, since I don't know if there's something that could actually caption you as you're talking. But do you think that's going to be something to consider? Because I know Gary Vee has been saying, like, you've got to caption your videos, you've got to caption them.
Yeah. I just started doing my Facebook Lives with caption too. It's not live right after I put the caption on. And I think at least for people, I wonder if there is a way. I haven't figured it out. If there's a way to do it live as you're talking. And I found that having the captions, yes, as you were saying, I think some people don't, it's like they either can't hear it or they don't want to hear it. And so if you can deliver those values and they see you, they look excited and happy, they see a bunch of captions coming in, they're like, okay, man, I'm going to check it out. And so they check it out. And so that's helpful. That's helpful to do the captions. Yeah.
So is that a function within Facebook Live now that you can, like, request it when you're done, or do you have to do it manually?
Ninja trick.
Okay.
So you have your Facebook Live. A bunch of ways you can do that. You can download it, upload it on YouTube. YouTube has a feature to put the captions on. Did you know that?
I did, and I've been meaning to try it, and I just haven't yet. Okay, cool.
And it's automatic. So you just put it on YouTube, ask for so you click, I think the step-by-step is I want to say you go subtitles/captions, click on the language that you want the captions be, so let's say English. You click on it, and then you have your image to the right of the screen and then a bunch of text to the left side of the screen. And then it says, here's your text if you want to edit it. Usually you want to edit your name and last name. Of course, my name and last name is always wrong. And then you change those, and then a bunch of other things that it's really important. And you, on the left side of the screen, there's a button that you can download the captions as a SRV file. I think I pronounced it right. SRV, I think it is. And then you can upload it again on YouTube, on Facebook Lives. And on Facebook Lives, they have their own caption creation too. I want to say it's in my program, and I want to say, if I remember this, if you click on edit, so you have your Facebook Live, it's done. I think you right click on it, and then you click edit, and then it has an option for captions toward I think it's on the top. There are like 4 tabs, I think, and then I think it's like the second one or third one, and you click on that. And because I usually do it on YouTube, so for Facebook I'm kind of rusty on that. So then it gives you, again, exact same structure. It just gives you this, like, here's a text that we think you talked about. This is what we think you talked about. And then you can edit it as you go. And then, or there's also an option for you to upload the text. And so the SRV file, if you did it from YouTube, you just upload it there. And then you, I think, click submit, I think. And then the caption is going to be there with your video. And it's awesome. It's super easy, because otherwise you would have to transcribe the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the reason that I didn't do any of mine yet, because I thought that's a nightmare and it's going to take forever and cost a lot. So that's great to know that there's a feature where you can do that outside of there. Awesome.
You got it. Yeah, and maybe like have your VA, instead of transcribing the whole thing, just go through it so the words make sense. Or even, I think if it's 10 minutes, you really could just quickly skim through it. It doesn't have to be all perfect. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Such great tips. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I mean, it's perfect. Like, what we started talking about was this idea of taking these challenges or these obstacles that you've overcome or these fails, and like how you learned from that and made it so much better. So I think that everyone watching is going to learn a lot from your experience, and you've already given like 5 ninja hacks that, could really change things for people.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah.